What's up, guys? I'm BTC. We just got some information about the upcoming anniversary event, the workshop, and someone created a prototype of one of my hero concepts. We got our first teaser for the Overwatch Anniversary Event. I'm willing to bet the reason why they waited so long in order to post this was because they didn't want it to conflict with the Overwatch League All-Star matches, and that's why we had to wait a little while. But they only gave us the date, which is May 21st, this next Tuesday, and that is going to be when the patch hit live, and that's actually going to go into the workshop, which I'll talk about in just a second here. But they haven't given us any of the new character skins or the emotes or any of that sort of stuff. They might actually be waiting until the event before all of that stuff happens, because I do know that a lot of people like seeing the skins beforehand, but then others say that they would rather get it all on the day the event starts as opposed to having these little spoilers that happen a week beforehand. Pretty big announcement about the workshop. Over on the official Overwatch forums, Keith Murren, who is one of the Overwatch devs responsible for making the workshop, said, "Hi guys, we're going to be winding down PTR soon. If you haven't already done so, make sure to generate codes for work you want to have carried over once PTR shuts down. You have this weekend to do so, but no guarantees after that." So this is pretty big news. I wasn't expecting them to take the workshop off the PTR this soon. I was expecting at least another week or two, but it seems like they want to have this included with the anniversary patch that is going to be coming up real soon. So there's a couple of things that we can learn from this. First is that they're already going to put this into the live version of the game next week, almost certainly, during the anniversary patch. But secondly, the codes that you create on the PTR will carry over to the live version of the game, but it also seems to indicate that codes for the PC will also work for codes on console. Now, this isn't explicitly said, but it does seem to kind of indicate that. So that's pretty cool, because that means you don't have to worry about making multiple versions on different platforms, whether it's Xbox or PS4 or PC or all that sort of stuff. So again, if you have any of those game modes that you want to save, get the code now. You probably have until late Sunday night, early Monday morning before this all gets taken down, but don't risk it. Get your code now so you don't end up losing your work. Something else pretty cool that I wanted to share with you guys is I got a whole bunch of messages saying that someone had created a working prototype for one of my hero concepts in the workshop. So the person that made the prototype is named DoubleSystem, and the character concept they made is Brute the Talon Tank, which is one of my more favorite character concepts. So the code in order to play this is E7SEP. And you can go and change the map and all that other stuff. It's not going to have any impact on the character concept itself. I also changed it so that the ultimate generation is a little bit higher, just so that it's easier to test that stuff. But let's go into the game. Once you get the lobby set up and you go in game, you have to pick Roadhog as your character. He's the one that's been modified to have Brute's abilities. I want to emphasize that this is not a perfect recreation of the character. There are limitations within the workshop, but this is still a really good prototype that will give you an idea of how Brute would work. I normally do my testing on the Hollywood map, but because Brute is from Kings Row, I thought it was appropriate to do the testing on Kings Row. On the bottom right, you'll notice that Roadhog's normal abilities are locked out. Also, if you press the ultimate button, it doesn't do anything, because that's not how Brute's ultimate works. We'll get to that in just a second. Brute has several abilities and a passive. If you look on the top center of the screen, you'll see Right Ability 1, Ability 2. Right is the Biotic Leech, Ability 1 is Lifelink, Ability 2 is the Biotic Slash, his passive is called Enrage. So the first thing we're going to look at is Ability 1, the Lifelink. You can place this on a teammate. It has a cooldown in here. It's not supposed to, but it doesn't really matter. And you'll see on the top left, you'll see that it says 250 for Reaper. Now, this is supposed to kind of look like what Mercy has for her tether, but instead of healing your teammate, instead, it absorbs a portion of the damage that they take. So let me use the soldier over here. And Reaper just took a bunch of damage, but he didn't take the full damage from that helix. Instead, Brute took the remainder of that damage, and this is how Brute tanks. By applying this lifelink to a teammate and absorbing some of the damage from him. So this was a way to create a character that could tank and absorb the damage from teammates without using a barrier. Now, it is a line of sight. It's supposed to have a lingering effect like Mercy's Tether, but for the workshop, apparently it just breaks as soon as the line of sight is gone. Again, not really a big deal, but it's still a really cool concept because you can apply it to any of your teammates anytime you want, and you can also remove it anytime you want. So if you start to take too much health, you just cancel out the lifelink, and then you don't have to worry about that. The lifelink isn't capable of actually killing you anyways. It would only bring you to 1 health, but even still, maybe you don't want to be running around at 1 health. But let me show you, you can take a little bit more damage. So that's pretty cool. That is the lifelink. Now, his other ability that I want to show you, the first one, is the right click on the top. This is called Biotic Leech. Because he's going to constantly be taking damage, I wanted to give Brute a way to regain some of his health, but I didn't want it to just be like Roadhog's heal, where you just use it and you heal yourself. I wanted you to have to use it on an enemy in order to steal some of their health, and that's exactly what it does. So the Biotic Leech leeches their health from them. Unfortunately, there's no visual for this, so it just kind of does its thing, but you can see that it dealt damage to the soldier over there, and it healed me. So that is really, really cool. Let me heal the soldier back up a little bit, and I can use it again and show you. Over the course of several seconds, it's going to drain 120 health from them. So that's really, really cool. Then his other ability is called the Biotic Slash, and this was a way of dealing with Goat's comp. Well, it wasn't specifically made to deal with Goat's comp, it just happens to work that well. Let me show you. You see, a flash went out, but really nothing is happening to the soldier. Like, he's not taking any damage, he's just kind of sitting there. That's because it only deals damage to you when you move around. So this is a way to stop those fast-moving death ball comps from basically just running over your team. Watch. As you move, you take damage. So the other player is actually in control whether or not they take damage. Now, it's crowd control in the fact that it kind of limits their movement, sort of, but they still get to control whether or not they move or whether or not they take damage. So if they're in a good position behind a wall or behind a barrier, then they can just sit there and not take any damage. But if they're out in the open, they have to decide, okay, do I run over to the side where the corner is and you know, block all the other damage and risk taking the damage from the Biotic Slash, or do I just stand here and kind of be a sitting duck? So it's a really cool decision-making thing that the enemy player gets to make. Brute also has a passive called Enrage, and how it's supposed to work is the more health you have missing, the faster your attack speed and your movement speed. So you get a little bit of buff as you lose health, and then you lose it when you get healed back up. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to quite work in the workshop. It seems like it's always working as opposed to only when you lose health, because watch, I'm gonna make the soldier move forward, and then you can see I can catch up. So I can catch up to the soldier even when I have full health, which is not what's supposed to happen. So I'm only supposed to be able to move faster when I take damage, but that's not really a big deal. Brute's ultimate is called Endless, and as I showed before, you can press the button, nothing happens. That's because you can only activate it after you die. Brute has a very risky and aggressive playstyle. You're constantly taking damage, and you're absorbing damage from your teammates, and you're going to have half health or possibly less on quite the regular basis. So I wanted to have an ultimate that complemented that, and that's where we get Endless. It's a self-res that also deals a bunch of AoE damage. I got the inspiration from this from a character called Wraith King, formerly known as Skeleton King. This was in Dota. Now, apparently there's a character in Paladins that does the same thing, but Dota came out years and years before Paladins did, so we both copied off of Wraith King in Dota. But how it works is, once you've taken enough damage, now I'm just dead, I can press the ultimate button, it will instantly respawn me, and it does a massive amount of damage in that area. You can see the soldier just got taken out there because he was within that area. So this is a really cool way for the character to continue to be aggressive and to control an area of the map, even after you've died, because if you have the ultimate, or if they think you have the ultimate, they need to steer clear of that area, right? Like, they can't come over here and like, oh, Brute just died, you know, right here. So avoid that spot, because if he has ultimate, he's gonna wipe out everybody that's in that area. So if you're just careless and you just like, and you come over here and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna keep defending, all of a sudden Brute respawns and he does a huge damage and your whole team just got wiped out. So you have to be aware of where Brute actually died in order to avoid that spot. And because it allows you to self-res, it allows you to have that aggressive style of play where you can be a little more risky and you can keep your health lower. And once you get your ultimate, then it's, you know, you can just be as risky and as aggressive as you want, because you know you can always just come right back. So that's really, really cool. Now, if you're interested in seeing the full hero concept for Brute the Talon Tank, I'll put a link to that on screen and down below. And also check out some of the other hero concepts, because those are also pretty awesome. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, am I going to make the hero concepts in the workshop? The answer is probably not, for a couple of reasons. The biggest one is I just don't have the time to make these, because it requires a great deal of effort to put in all the coding and the scripting to make these workshop games work. The second thing is that I kind of like the format that I use to present the hero concepts that I've made. I like the artwork and the story and all that sort of stuff, so I don't really want to change too much of it. But if you guys make these hero concepts in the workshop and you send them to me, I'll check them out, and maybe, I can't guarantee this, but maybe I'll include them in a video at some point. Also, you've been asking about the fan-submitted hero concepts. Guys, I have over 200 of them. I'm trying to go through them and trying to come up with a format that I can use in order to present these fan concepts that you guys have made. But again, there's over 200 of them, so it's taken me a little while in order to sift through all the stuff. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.